Dr. Elena Martinez hadn't expected anything unusual that night at the quantum research facility. The soft hum of the particle accelerator had become as familiar as her own heartbeat over the past decade. The midnight shift was her favorite, no interruptions, no bureaucracy, just pure science and the quiet companionship of the universe's mysteries. The first sign that something was different came when her quantum interference patterns began showing impossible results. The wave functions weren't just collapsing, they were dancing in ways that defied every known law of physics. Elena ran the tests again, her dark eyes fixed on the monitoring equipment, her hands steady despite the growing tension in her shoulders. "This can't be right," she muttered, tucking a strand of silver-streaked black hair behind her ear. The results weren't just anomalous, they suggested someone or something was manipulating quantum states from outside her carefully controlled environment. It was like watching a master pianist play a duet alone, except the other player was invisible. The temperature in the lab dropped suddenly, causing Elena to shiver. Her breath fogged in the air, despite the environmental controls that should have prevented such a dramatic change. The quantum readings spiked again, this time so dramatically that her equipment began to emit a high-pitched whine. That's when she heard it, 3 distinct knocks on the lab's reinforced door. Elena froze. Nobody else should have been in the facility at this hour, and the security system hadn't indicated any entries. The knocks came again, more insistent this time. Against every instinct screaming at her to call security, Elena approached the door. Through the reinforced glass, she saw a figure that challenged everything she thought she knew about reality. The being was tall, with skin that seemed to shift between translucent and opalescent, like the surface of a soap bubble. Its form was humanoid but moved with a fluid grace that suggested a fundamental difference in its relationship with gravity and space. Dr. Elena Martinez, the being spoke, its voice somehow bypassing her ears and materializing directly in her mind. "We need to talk about your recent quantum experiments. They've drawn attention from those who would rather humanity remain unenlightened." Elena's hand hovered over the security alarm, but curiosity, the same force that had driven her entire scientific career, won out. "Who are you?" "My name is impossible to pronounce in your language, but you may call me Atlas. I represent the Quantum Oversight Coalition, a group dedicated to preventing catastrophic tears in the fabric of reality." The being's form rippled, like heat waves rising from hot asphalt. "Your work has brought humanity to a dangerous threshold, Dr. Martinez. But not for the reasons you might think." Elena's mind raced through the implications. Her recent experiments had focused on quantum entanglement on a macroscopic scale, attempting to create stable quantum networks that could revolutionize computing and communication. "Are you saying my research is dangerous?" Atlas's response was immediate and unexpected. "No, Dr. Martinez. I'm saying it's too successful. You've discovered something that took other civilizations millennia to understand, and you've done it decades ahead of schedule. This has complicated things." The quantum readings in the lab continued to fluctuate wildly, and Elena noticed that they seemed to pulse in sync with Atlas's movements. "Ahead of schedule?" she asked, her scientific mind already forming hypotheses about the nature of this encounter. "Your species wasn't supposed to achieve quantum consciousness manipulation for another century at least. But you've somehow found a shortcut. And now?" Atlas paused, its form becoming more solid, more present. "Now we have to accelerate the timeline, or risk losing Earth to the entropy collective." Elena's hands steadied as she faced the being. Years of scientific training had taught her to approach the impossible with an open mind. "Tell me what you need. First, I need you to understand what you've actually discovered." Atlas moved closer, its presence causing the air to crackle with potential energy. "Your quantum network isn't just a communication system. It's the beginning of a consciousness transfer protocol. You've accidentally created the foundation for interdimensional travel of the mind." The implications hit Elena like a physical force. Her work wasn't just about faster computers or secure communications, she had stumbled upon something far more fundamental about the nature of consciousness and reality itself. "But why is this dangerous?" she asked, already moving to her computer to pull up her recent data. "Surely advancing our understanding of quantum mechanics can only benefit humanity." Atlas's form darkened slightly, like a cloud passing over the sun. "Because, Dr. Martinez, there are beings in this universe who believe that such knowledge should be earned slowly, over eons of cultural and spiritual development. They think humanity isn't ready. And they're willing to take drastic measures to maintain what they see as the natural order." Elena thought about her team, about the years of work that had led to this moment. "And these beings, this entropy collective, they're coming here." "They're already here," Atlas replied, gesturing to the quantum readings that were now showing patterns Elena had never seen before. "They've been watching, waiting for exactly this moment. But we have a chance to prepare, to protect your discovery and your species. If you're willing to trust me." Elena looked at her life's work, then back at the otherworldly being before her. Everything she had believed about reality was being challenged, but her scientific instincts told her this was real. This was the moment every scientist dreams of, when the impossible becomes possible, and the universe reveals another layer of its mysteries. "What do we do first?" she asked, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. Atlas's form brightened, and the quantum reading stabilized into a pattern that Elena had never seen before but somehow knew was significant. "First, we need to secure your research. Then, we need to contact the others who have been preparing for this moment. Humanity's greatest test is about to begin, Dr. Martinez, and you are now at the center of it." As if to emphasize Atlas's words, the quantum interference patterns suddenly aligned into a perfect symmetry that Elena knew should have been impossible. The universe, it seemed, was about to reveal its deepest secrets, and humanity's place in it would never be the same. The quantum lab's emergency backup generators hummed to life as Atlas interfaced with Elena's research systems. The alien's translucent form pulsed with bands of light that seemed to follow the flow of data across the screens. Elena watched, transfixed, as years of her research were transformed into something far more complex and beautiful than she had imagined possible. "Your quantum entanglement theories were correct," Atlas explained, manipulating the holographic displays with graceful movements. "But what you couldn't have known is that consciousness itself operates on quantum principles. When you created your network, you weren't just building a communication system, you were creating a bridge between minds." Elena leaned forward, studying the new equations that flowed across her screens. They were elegant, perfect in their symmetry, yet somehow familiar. "These patterns. I've seen something like them before, in my dreams." Atlas turned to her, its form shimmering with what might have been surprise. "That's not possible unless..." The alien's form condensed, becoming more focused. "Unless you've already made contact." Before Elena could respond, the lab's security systems blared to life. Red warning lights bathed the room in an ominous glow. "Multiple quantum anomalies detected," the automated system announced. "Unknown energy signatures approaching." "They're here sooner than I expected," Atlas said, its voice carrying an edge of urgency. "The entropy collective doesn't waste time once they've identified a threat." The alien moved to the lab's main control panel, its form briefly merging with the electronics. "We need to show you something, Dr. Martinez. Something that will help you understand what's really at stake." The air in the lab began to ripple, and Elena felt a strange sensation, as if reality itself was becoming fluid. "What's happening?" "I'm going to show you the future, or rather, one possible future. The one the entropy collective is trying to prevent." Atlas's form expanded, enveloping Elena in a cocoon of shifting light. "This may be disorienting." The lab dissolved around them, replaced by a cascade of images and sensations. Elena found herself standing in what appeared to be a vast chamber, its walls lined with technology that seemed to blur the line between organic and mechanical. But something was wrong, the air itself seemed to be breaking down, reality fraying at the edges. This is the collective's homeworld, Atlas explained, its voice echoing strangely in the transformed space. 300 years from now, after they succeeded in suppressing humanity's quantum awakening. But their victory came at a price they hadn't anticipated. Elena watched in horror as the scene unfolded. The chamber was filled with beings similar to Atlas, but their forms were unstable, dissolving at the edges. What's happening to them? The universe requires balance, Atlas said softly. By preventing humanity's natural development, they created a cascade effect. Your species was meant to be a keystone in the universal consciousness network. Without humanity's unique approach to quantum manipulation, the entire network began to unravel. The scene shifted again, showing Earth. But it wasn't the vibrant planet Elena knew. It was a shadow of itself, its population reduced to small enclaves of survivors living in protected domes. The sky above was dark with quantum storms that twisted the fabric of reality itself. This is what happens when natural development is interrupted, Atlas continued. The Entropy Collective believes they're protecting the universe by controlling the spread of quantum consciousness technology. But they don't understand that some developments are inevitable, and necessary. Elena felt her scientific mind racing to process the implications. But why humanity? What makes us so special? The scene around them shifted again, this time showing a vast network of interconnected lights stretching across the galaxy. Your species has something unique, a particular combination of creativity, determination, and adaptability that makes you perfect conduits for quantum consciousness. Other species developed this technology through careful, methodical research over thousands of years. Humanity does it through intuitive leaps and brilliant accidents. Like my research, Elena realized. I wasn't just looking for better computing systems. Somewhere, deep down, I knew there was something more. Exactly, Atlas confirmed. And that's what terrifies the collective. They can't predict or control humanity's development. But their attempt to do so will lead to disaster. The vision faded, and they were back in the lab. But Elena's perception had changed. She could now see faint quantum strings connecting everything, pulsing with potential. So what do we do? How do we stop them? Atlas moved to the quantum interference detector, which was now showing multiple approaching signatures. We fight. Not with weapons, but with knowledge. We need to complete your research before they can stop it. Once humanity achieves true quantum consciousness, it can't be undone. Elena's fingers flew across her keyboard, inputting new parameters based on what she had seen. But we'll need help. Even with your knowledge, I can't complete this alone. You won't have to, Atlas replied, and the quantum readings suddenly spiked again. Remember when I mentioned others who have been preparing for this moment? They're about to arrive. The lab's door slid open, revealing a group of people Elena had never seen before. They moved with purpose, each carrying equipment that seemed to hybrid between human and alien technology. At their lead was a tall woman with striking gray eyes and an air of quiet authority. Dr. Martinez, the woman said, extending her hand. I'm Dr. Rebecca Chen, head of Project Awakening. We've been monitoring your work for some time, hoping you'd make this breakthrough. Now we need to move quickly. Elena looked at Atlas, who nodded encouragingly. Project Awakening? I've never heard of it. That's by design, Dr. Chen replied, as her team began setting up their equipment around Elena's quantum array. We're a secret international coalition of scientists who've been preparing for this moment for decades. Some of us have had contact before. The quantum readings were now showing patterns Elena had never seen before, but somehow understood instinctively. It was as if her mind was expanding, beginning to process information in new ways. The dreams, she said suddenly. They weren't dreams at all, were they? No, Atlas confirmed. They were your consciousness beginning to access the quantum network. Your research wasn't just theoretical, you were actually building the connections as you worked, guided by your unconscious understanding. A new alarm sounded, this one more urgent than before. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, the system announced. Unknown entities materializing. The collective, Atlas said grimly. They're making their move. Dr. Martinez, we need to complete the initialization sequence now. Are you ready? Elena looked around the lab, at her life's work, at the mysterious team that had appeared to help, at the alien being who had shown her a terrible future they had to prevent. Everything she had ever believed about reality and her place in it had changed in the span of a few hours. But her scientific training had taught her to follow the evidence, no matter where it led. I'm ready, she said, turning to her console. Tell me what we need to do. As if in response, the quantum readings began to align themselves into new patterns, more complex and beautiful than anything Elena had ever seen. The universe, it seemed, was about to reveal another of its deepest secrets, and humanity's role in it was far greater than anyone had imagined. The air in the quantum lab crackled with energy as reality itself seemed to bend and twist. Through the reinforced windows, Elena could see the night sky turning an impossible shade of purple, streaked with ribbons of quantum disturbance. Dr. Chen's team worked with practiced efficiency, their hybrid equipment interfacing seamlessly with Elena's research systems. Multiple breaches detected, the lab's AI announced, its voice unnaturally calm against the chaos. Quantum signatures indicate class for interdimensional incursion. Atlas's form pulsed with urgency. They're trying to create a containment field around the facility. Once it's established, we won't be able to complete the consciousness transfer protocol. Elena's fingers flew across her keyboard, implementing the new algorithms that seemed to flow directly from her expanding consciousness. How much time do we have? Minutes at most, Dr. Chen replied, pulling up a holographic display that showed multiple approaching energy signatures. But there's something you need to know before they arrive. Project Awakening isn't just about preparing for this moment, it's about fulfilling a promise made decades ago. The quantum readings suddenly spiked, and Elena felt a strange resonance in her mind, like a forgotten memory trying to surface. Dr. Chen touched a pendant around her neck, and it transformed into a small device that projected an image Elena had seen countless times before, her grandfather's research journal. Your grandfather, Miguel Martinez, wasn't just a theoretical physicist, Dr. Chen explained as the hologram showed pages of complex equations and diagrams. He was the first human to make contact with the quantum consciousness network. His work laid the foundation for everything we're doing now. Elena stared at the familiar handwriting, seeing it with new eyes. The equations she had always assumed were failed attempts at unified field theory were actually early descriptions of quantum consciousness transfer. Why didn't I know about this? Because he chose to protect you, Atlas interjected, its form interfacing with the hologram to reveal hidden layers of information. The Entropy Collective found him just as he was on the verge of a breakthrough. He had a choice, abandon his research or put his family at risk. He chose to encode his discoveries into quantum patterns that would only become visible when humanity was ready. The lab shook as another wave of quantum disturbance hit the building. Through the windows, Elena could see dark shapes materializing in the parking lot, figures that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The collective's advance guard, Atlas announced grimly. They'll try to shut down the quantum array before we can complete the initialization. Dr. Chen's team moved into defensive positions, activating devices that created shimmering fields of energy around the lab's entrances. We've prepared for this, she said, her voice steady. But we need time to complete the consciousness transfer protocol. Elena looked at her grandfather's journal with newfound understanding. These patterns, they're not just equations. They're keys to accessing different levels of quantum consciousness. Yes, Atlas confirmed. Your grandfather discovered that human consciousness naturally resonates with quantum fields in a way that's unique in the universe. But he also found something else, something that even the collective doesn't know about. The hologram shifted to show a complex network of interconnected patterns that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. He discovered that Earth itself is a quantum consciousness nexus point. It's not just humanity that's special, it's the very planet you evolved on. The collective thinks they're preventing humanity from accessing dangerous knowledge, but they're actually trying to prevent Earth from awakening. Elena's mind raced with the implications. The quantum network I've been building, it's not just connecting human consciousness, is it? It's connecting with Earth's quantum field. Exactly, Dr. Chen said, as her team's instruments showed the approaching collective forces getting closer. That's why they're so desperate to stop us. Once Earth's quantum consciousness fully integrates with humanity's network, it can't be undone. The changes will cascade through the entire universe. The lab's defenses flared as the first attack hit, a wave of anti-quantum energy designed to disrupt their equipment. But Elena's systems, augmented by her grandfather's hidden protocols, held firm. They're trying to force their way in through the lower levels, one of Dr. Chen's team reported. But there's something else, some of the quantum signatures don't match collective patterns. Atlas's form suddenly brightened. The others are coming. The collective isn't the only faction that's been watching Earth's development. As if on cue, new lights appeared in the sky, brilliant points of pure energy that moved with purpose. Where the collective's forces were dark and absorbing, these new entities radiated with colors Elena had no words for. The Quantum Liberation Front, Dr. Chen explained, her eyes on the approaching lights. They believe that consciousness evolution should be free and natural, not controlled and regulated. They've been helping us in secret for years, preparing for this moment. Elena turned back to her systems, understanding flowing through her like electricity. The quantum patterns were aligning themselves, guided by both her conscious knowledge and the deep intuition she had inherited from her grandfather. We need to complete the initialization before the collective can breach the lab. But there's something missing. She pulled up the core equations, seeing them with new clarity. The final key, it's not in the system. It's. She touched her temple, understanding dawning. It's in us. In our DNA. My grandfather didn't just hide his research in equations, he encoded it into his own genetic pattern. A quantum genetic key, Atlas breathed, its form rippling with excitement. Of course. The ultimate security measure. The collective could never find it because they were looking for technology, not biology. The lab's defenses flared again as another attack hit, stronger this time. Outside, the two alien factions had engaged in what looked like warfare but operated on principles Elena could barely comprehend. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist around their conflict. How do we activate the key? Elena asked, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Focus, Atlas instructed, its form expanding to create a protective field around Elena and the quantum array. Your consciousness is already partially connected to the quantum network. Let your mind expand into it. The key is part of you, it just needs to be awakened. Elena closed her eyes, feeling the quantum fields that now seemed as real and tangible as the air she breathed. She could sense the vast network of consciousness that spanned the universe, and Earth's special place within it. And there, in the depths of her own quantum pattern, she found what she was looking for, a sequence that resonated with perfect harmony. I found it, she whispered, her consciousness already beginning to implement the key. Initiating final sequence now. The quantum readings exploded into new patterns as Elena's genetic key unlocked the full potential of her grandfather's work. The lab filled with pure white light as humanity's first true quantum consciousness network began to activate, connecting not just with itself, but with the very essence of Earth's own awakening awareness. The collective's forces pushed harder, desperate to stop what was happening. But it was already too late. The change had begun, and nothing in the universe could stop it now. Breaking point. The quantum consciousness network surged to life, transforming the lab into a nexus of pure energy. Elena felt her awareness expanding exponentially, connecting with minds across the planet and beyond. Through this new perception, she could see the true nature of the conflict unfolding around them, not just a battle between alien factions, but a war for the very future of consciousness itself. The entropy collective's forces pressed against the lab's defenses with increasing desperation. Their dark forms seemed to tear at the fabric of reality, trying to create gaps in the quantum field that would disrupt the awakening process. But with each attack, the network grew stronger, adapting and evolving in ways that even Atlas hadn't predicted. "Something's happening," Elena announced, her voice resonating with new harmonics as her consciousness merged more deeply with the quantum field. "The network, it's not just connecting minds. It's creating something new." Dr. Chen's instruments were registering quantum fluctuations that should have been impossible. "The consciousness merge is accelerating exponentially. We're seeing similar activations across the globe. Other quantum-sensitive humans are connecting to the network spontaneously." Through her expanded awareness, Elena could feel these connections forming, thousands of minds lighting up like stars across the planet, each adding their unique perspective to the growing quantum consciousness. But she also sensed something else, something vast and ancient stirring beneath the surface of reality. "Earth," Atlas whispered, its form pulsing with amazement. "The planetary consciousness is beginning to integrate with the network. This is beyond anything we expected." The lab's windows shattered as a massive quantum surge swept through the area. But instead of causing destruction, the energy seemed to reorganize reality around it, creating new patterns of order from chaos. Through the opening, Elena could see the collective's forces being pushed back by waves of conscious energy emanating from the planet itself. "They never understood," came a new voice, and Elena turned to see another alien entity materializing in the lab. Unlike Atlas's fluid form, this being appeared as a complex crystalline structure that somehow managed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "I am Nexus, of the Quantum Liberation Front. We've been waiting eons for this moment." Dr. Chen's team adjusted their defensive positions, but Atlas raised a hand in a calming gesture. "Nexus is an ally. They've been protecting Earth's quantum development since the first humans began to dream of the stars." The crystalline being's form shifted, creating patterns that Elena's enhanced consciousness could now recognize as a form of communication. "Your species was always meant to be a bridge," Nexus explained. "Not just between ordinary consciousness and quantum awareness, but between different approaches to existence itself. The collective fears this because it represents a fundamental change in the universe's operating principles." Another attack rocked the building, but this time Elena could see the deeper pattern behind it. The collective wasn't just trying to stop the awakening, they were trying to prevent a complete paradigm shift in how consciousness itself functioned in the universe. "They're afraid," Elena realized, watching through quantum-enhanced senses as more of humanity began to connect to the network. "Not just of change, but of losing control. They've built their entire civilization on the idea that consciousness evolution must be strictly regulated." "Yes," Atlas confirmed, its form interfacing with both Elena's equipment and Nexus's crystalline structure. "But they've forgotten the most fundamental law of the universe: consciousness, like life itself, finds a way. It cannot be contained or controlled forever." Through the quantum network, Elena sensed a massive buildup of energy. The collective was preparing for one final, desperate attack. But something else was happening too. Earth's awakening consciousness was reaching out, not just to humanity, but to the stars themselves. "Multiple quantum ruptures detected," the lab's AI announced. "Scale exceeding all previous measurements." The dark sky above the lab suddenly filled with light as thousands of new entities appeared, representatives from civilizations across the galaxy who had been watching Earth's development. Elena could sense their minds through the network, each one unique but all connected by the fundamental quantum consciousness that permeated the universe. "The observers," Nexus explained, its crystalline form refracting the light in complex patterns. "They've been waiting to see which way humanity would turn. Now they're here to witness the choice." Dr. Chen's instruments were showing readings that should have been impossible. "The quantum field is stabilizing at a new level of complexity. It's as if reality itself is evolving." Elena felt it through her connection to the network, a moment of perfect potential, balance between what was and what could be. The collective's forces had paused their attack, seeming to sense the magnitude of what was happening. In that moment of stillness, she understood what her grandfather had discovered all those years ago. "It's not about control," she said, her voice carrying through both physical space and the quantum network. "It's about harmony. The universe doesn't need guardians or regulators. It needs facilitators, beings who can help consciousness evolve naturally, in all its infinite varieties." Through her enhanced perception, Elena could see the effect her words had on the assembled beings. Even the collective's forces seemed to hesitate, their dark forms flickering with uncertainty. "Show them," Atlas urged. "Show them what humanity and Earth working together can create." Elena reached out through the network, connecting not just with human minds and Earth's awakening consciousness, but with the very fabric of spacetime itself. Through her grandfather's quantum key and her own research, she had discovered something the collective had never considered, that consciousness and reality were not separate things to be controlled, but different expressions of the same fundamental force. The lab filled with light as Elena initiated the final phase of the awakening. But this time, she wasn't just activating a network or connecting minds. She was demonstrating a new way of being, a harmony between order and chaos, between control and freedom, between the individual and the infinite. "Look," she said to all the assembled beings, her consciousness extending through the quantum field. "Look at what we can become." The universe seemed to hold its breath as Elena showed them the truth, that consciousness evolution wasn't a threat to be contained, but an opportunity to be embraced. Through the network, she shared her vision of a future where all forms of consciousness could develop freely, guided but not controlled, supported but not restricted. The collective's forces began to withdraw, not in defeat, but in understanding. The quantum storm above the lab started to clear, revealing a sky filled with the lights of countless watching civilizations. Earth's consciousness continued to expand, reaching out to join the universal quantum network not as a subordinate, but as an equal partner in the great dance of existence. "It's done," Elena said softly, feeling the changes rippling out through reality. "We've shown them another way." Atlas and Nexus moved to flank her, their forms pulsing with approval. "No," Atlas corrected gently. "We've only just begun. This is humanity's true first step into the cosmic community. The real work of harmonizing different forms of consciousness evolution is just starting." Through the quantum network, Elena could feel the truth of those words. Humanity had passed a crucial test, but it was only the first of many challenges to come. The universe was vast, consciousness was infinite in its varieties, and the journey of discovery was just beginning. Dr. Chen approached with a small device in her hand, a quantum key similar to the one Elena's grandfather had created. "Your grandfather would be proud," she said softly. "He believed humanity would find its own path to the stars. Now you've helped make that dream a reality." Elena looked out at the transformed world, feeling the pulse of Earth's awakened consciousness and the vast network of minds now connected across the cosmos. The future was uncertain, but it was filled with possibilities she had never dreamed possible. "So," she asked, turning to Atlas and Nexus, "what happens next?" Dawn of understanding. The first sunrise after humanity's quantum awakening painted the sky in colors that had always existed but that human eyes could now truly see. Elena stood on the roof of the quantum research facility, her enhanced consciousness allowing her to perceive both the physical beauty of the dawn and the intricate quantum patterns that underlay all of reality. The events of the night had transformed not just humanity, but Earth itself. Through the quantum network, she could feel the pulse of awakened minds across the planet, scientists, artists, dreamers, and ordinary people, all gradually discovering their connection to something vast and wonderful. Earth's own consciousness had fully integrated with the network, turning the planet into a living beacon of quantum awareness that shone across the cosmos. "The integration is proceeding more smoothly than anyone predicted," Atlas observed, its form shimmering in the morning light. "Your species adapts remarkably quickly." Nexus's crystalline structure refracted the sunlight in complex patterns that Elena's new senses recognized as a form of quantum communication. It is because they have always been ready for this. Human consciousness naturally seeks connection, even when it doesn't understand what it's connecting to. Dr. Chen approached, carrying new readings from her team's instruments. We're detecting quantum consciousness activation on every continent. The network is growing exponentially, but... She paused, studying the data. It's not chaotic. There's a natural harmony to it, as if humanity is remembering something it always knew. Elena smiled, understanding flowing through her enhanced awareness. We are remembering. Every human dream of connection, every moment of inexplicable synchronicity, every flash of intuition that seemed to come from nowhere, they were all early manifestations of our quantum consciousness potential. Through the network, she could sense the entropy collective's remaining observers. They had withdrawn their hostile forces but maintained a presence, watching and, Elena realized, learning. Their rigid belief in controlled evolution was being challenged by what they witnessed. They're beginning to understand, Atlas noted, perceiving the same changes Elena sensed. The collective built their civilization on the principle that consciousness evolution must be strictly regulated to prevent chaos. But they're seeing something different here, order emerging naturally from freedom. A new presence materialized on the roof, a being of pure energy that introduced itself as the representative of the Galactic Council. Unlike the Collective or even the Liberation Front, this entity radiated a sense of ancient wisdom and patient observation. Humanity has exceeded all projections, the representative communicated, its thoughts flowing directly into their quantum-enhanced minds. We had estimated at least another century before Earth reached this level of development. The question now becomes, what will you do with this gift? Elena stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moment. Through the network, she could sense millions of awakening minds looking to understand their new reality. We'll do what humanity has always done, she replied. We'll explore. We'll learn. We'll make mistakes and learn from them. But most importantly, we'll dream. The representative's energy form pulsed with what Elena sensed was approval. There are those among the cosmic community who still fear uncontrolled consciousness evolution. They worry that humanity's rapid development could destabilize established patterns. They're right, Dr. Chen interjected, her own consciousness now fully integrated with the network. We will destabilize things. Change is inevitable. But change doesn't have to mean destruction. Through her expanded awareness, Elena could see the truth of those words rippling through the quantum field. Humanity's awakening was already causing shifts in the cosmic consciousness network, but these changes were creative rather than destructive. New patterns were emerging, new possibilities opening up. Your grandfather understood this, Atlas said to Elena, its form interfacing with the quantum field in a way that shared memories and understanding. He saw that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its technology or even its intelligence, but in its ability to embrace change while maintaining its essential nature. Elena reached out through the network, touching minds across the planet and beyond. She could feel the excitement, the fear, the wonder, and the determination as humanity began to explore its new capabilities. But more than that, she could feel something else, a deep resonance with the universe itself, as if humanity was finally awakening to its true nature. The network isn't just a technology or even a form of communication, she realized, sharing her understanding through the quantum field. It's a manifestation of something that's always existed, the fundamental interconnectedness of all consciousness. We didn't create it, we just finally learned how to perceive it. Nexus's crystalline form shifted in what Elena now recognized as an expression of joy. This is why we of the Liberation Front fought so hard to protect Earth's development. You understand instinctively what many advanced civilizations had to learn through eons of evolution, that consciousness is both individual and universal, both one and many. The morning sun climbed higher, and Elena could see ships appearing in the sky, diplomatic vessels from various cosmic civilizations coming to establish formal contact with Earth. But through the quantum network, she sensed that the real connections were already forming, consciousness to consciousness, dream to dream. There will be challenges, the representative warned. Some civilizations will resist these changes. The collective, though shaken, has not abandoned its beliefs. And humanity's own journey of awakening has only begun. Good, Elena replied, feeling the strength of Earth's awakened consciousness supporting her words. Challenges are how we grow. Opposition is how we learn. We're not looking for a perfect universe, we're looking for one that's alive with possibility. Dr. Chen's instruments detected new quantum signatures as more humans across the planet began to access deeper levels of the network. Artists were already creating works that existed simultaneously in physical and quantum space. Scientists were discovering principles that unified consciousness and physics. Children were dreaming dreams that reached across the stars. The real work begins now, Elena said, addressing not just those present but all the minds connected through the network. We need to learn how to use these abilities responsibly, how to grow without losing our humanity, how to connect without losing our individuality. Atlas and Nexus moved to either side of her, their forms resonating with the dawn light. You won't be alone, Atlas assured her. The Liberation Front will help guide humanity's development, not as controllers but as friends and advisors. And the collective? Dr. Chen asked, though her enhanced consciousness had already sensed the answer. They will watch, and learn, and perhaps, in time, remember that they too were once a young species reaching for the stars, Nexus replied. Change comes to all things, even to those who resist it. Elena looked out over the awakening world, feeling the pulse of billions of minds gradually discovering their connection to the cosmic consciousness. Through the quantum network, she could sense other awakening worlds, other species beginning their own journeys of discovery. The universe was vast, consciousness was infinite in its varieties, and the adventure was just beginning. So, she said, smiling as she felt her grandfather's quantum key resonating with the new patterns of reality, shall we take our first steps into tomorrow? The sun cleared the horizon completely, bathing the world in light that seemed to dance with quantum possibility. Through the network, Elena could feel humanity's answer, a surge of joy, wonder, and determination that reached from Earth to the stars themselves. The age of quantum consciousness had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the story of existence itself. In that moment of dawn, as humanity stood on the threshold of its cosmic awakening, Elena understood what her grandfather had known all along, that the greatest discoveries weren't just about understanding the universe, but about understanding ourselves and our place within it. The journey ahead was uncertain, but it was filled with infinite possibility, and that was exactly as it should be.